Tonight, Trump's tariffs send financial markets into freefall. China retaliates, escalating the global trade war.
It's an economic Armageddon that was unleashed by Trump.
But the president shows no signs of backing down. The leaders descend on battleground Quebec.
Change is on the way.
We couldn't be in a better setting, I think, than in Montreal.
I intend to succeed.
How the Liberals' rise is hurting the bloc. And breaking tonight, tied with the Great One.
There's a pass, Ovechkin!
Alexander Ovechkin is just one away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's NHL scoring record.
From CBC News, this is The National with Erica Johnson.
Thanks for joining us. Donald Trump is insisting tonight his punishing global tariffs are working. This as China retaliated with steep tariffs of its own and financial markets plummeted. From opening bell cheers to blood on the trading floor with stock sell-offs around the world after Beijing hit back on Washington with 34% counter tariffs. The sickening reality is sinking in that a global trade war unlike anything seen in generations is on. Since Trump's tariff announcement late Wednesday, the TSX, Dow Jones, and S&P 500 all tumbling as much as 10%. And as Paul Hunter shows us, the concern isn't confined to cratering markets, because if there's no quick way out of this trade war, regular Americans will be caught right in the middle.
From their made-in-China iPhones to their made-in-Vietnam furniture to Levi's jeans made in Lesotho to the countless other goods and foods sold in the U.S. but made or grown overseas, the big question for Americans: how high will prices now go? As one shopper in Maryland puts it bluntly,
and it's going to be bad for American people.
I'm trying to lower my expenses because I think we very much could be going into a recession.
Fruits and vegetables at the grocery store, more expensive. Clothing and shoes, more expensive. Donald Trump has single-handedly started a financial forest fire.
Including as well on Wall Street, rocked by the tariffs, with U.S. stock markets now plunging, leading to the next question: what action will the rest of the world take in response to Donald Trump's move? China's immediate answer: big-time tariffs targeting the U.S., with word now of a giant 34% tariff on all American imports. Though some countries are already taking a different tack. Vietnam and Cambodia telling the U.S. they're ready to negotiate with Trump to soften his tariffs.
Donald Trump's tariffs do not represent all Americans.
Meanwhile, back in the U.S., word California is looking to go it alone.
Today, I've directed my administration to look at new opportunities to expand trade and to remind our trading partners around the globe that California remains a stable partner.
Into all of this, a sobering view from the U.S. Federal Reserve and its assessment on the impact of Trump's tumultuous move.
It is now becoming clear that tariff increases will be significantly larger than expected, and the same is likely to be true of the economic effects, which will include higher inflation and slower growth. The size and duration of these effects remains uncertain.
Donald Trump today using social media to try to pressure the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, into dropping interest rates in this country, writing, "Jerome, stop playing politics."
And Paul, is there any sign that Trump plans to back down at this point?
Zero, Erica. Also on his Truth Social platform, Trump writing, "Only the weak will fail. My policies will never change. This is a great time," he wrote, "to get rich." Erica.
Paul Hunter in Washington. To Peter Armstrong now for a closer look at the economics of this. So, Peter, is it, as Trump says in Paul's story, a good time to get rich?
Well, look, Trump's trying to say that, the markets have hit a bottom and now it's bargain hunting time, but that ain't clear at all, right? More than $6 trillion in value has been wiped out since Wednesday. The S&P fell more than 9%. The NASDAQ has fallen 20% since February. The Dow had one of the worst days of intraday trading in its history. And here's the real problem. Investors still believe these tariffs are going to be rolled off in a few months, that negotiations are going to happen and tariffs will come down. If those negotiations don't emerge, things could get much worse.
So 2 straight days of losses like this, where does it stop?
It's really hard to say. And even the way the tariffs have been calculated is not based on specific tariffs. It's just the trade deficit of each country divided by its imports. So how do you negotiate against that? What are the Americans asking for? The fact that we don't know underscores why investors are so pessimistic that there's actually some kind of a plan here.
We're talking about, one of the craziest things I think that's ever happened in Wall Street in its history. The best scenario is negotiations start over the weekend and you feel like they're willing to play ball. And then the worst case maybe comes off the table. But until that happens, it's viewed right now that they're burning down the house to ultimately just save a toaster oven with a bagel in it at the end of the day.
Meanwhile, Erica, JP Morgan says there's like a 60% chance of a global recession, a 30% chance of a US recession, because if these tariffs are implemented and really do begin to bite, they're going to hurt consumers, they're going to shrink business margins, and they'll hurt the global economy and the American economy as well.
Okay, thanks for this, Peter Armstrong in Toronto. Canada has been dealing with the threat of tariffs for months now, and it may be starting to show up in jobs numbers. According to Stats Canada lost 33,000 jobs in March. The unemployment rate slightly higher now at 6.7%. That's by far the biggest monthly drop in jobs the country has seen in years, with analysts pointing to the uncertainty caused by Donald Trump's tariffs. It's impossible to divorce the issue of Trump's tariffs from the federal election campaign, including in battleground Quebec, where all the major party leaders spent the day. As Olivia Stefanovich shows us, worry about threats from the U.S. appears to be driving support for the Liberals.
The day after a grilling from Radio-Canada journalists, all the major federal party leaders made campaign stops in Quebec, a vote-rich battleground with 78 seats up for grabs, and a key stop in the fight for victory.
Nice to be in Quebec.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is looking for a breakthrough, hoping to grow his party's 9-seat count.
I'm here today to tell you that change is on the way.
I intend to succeed.
The Bloc Québécois spent more than a year leading in the polls, but has recently bled support to the Liberals and is now running neck and neck with the Conservatives.
In 2019 and in 2021, the Bloc Québécois completed the campaign much higher than it had started it.
We couldn't be in a better setting, I think, than in Montreal.
Despite several French-language gaffes, CBC's poll tracker shows Mark Carney maintaining a 20-point lead in Quebec.
We're protecting our identity and our culture and helping it to shine around the world. We're making Canada strong.
The number one issue right now is how to deal with Donald Trump.
This pollster says Quebec voters are looking for a candidate who can protect them from U.S. threats.
For Quebec sovereigntist parties, it's more difficult to try to bank on your usual message of why Quebec would be better off as a separate country.
We're always going to fight for you and your family.
That's left the NDP in survival mode, trying to hang on to its one and only seat in the province.
With just one MP, Alison Boudouris, we're able to deliver 500,000 people were able to get dental care.
Carney is now turning his campaign's focus back to Ontario, holding a rally here while planning next to head west. Olivia Stefanovich, CBC News, Toronto.
The future of CBC and Radio-Canada is also in the campaign spotlight, with Liberal leader Mark Carney pledging tens of millions to boost funding. As Joanna Romiliota shows us, it comes with a sales pitch of patriotism.
The campaign promise to give Canada's public broadcaster more money came with a jab at Mark Carney's biggest opponent and played to the bigger moment.
Canada's identity and institutions are under attack by foreign interference. And instead of defending them, Pierre Poilievre is following President Trump's lead and taking aim at our institutions like CBC Radio Canada.
Hey, elbows up. Elbows up.
From enlisting celebrities to elbow up against Trump's trade war and threats on Canadian sovereignty, the Liberal leader is also framing the fight for CBC and Radio-Canada as a fight for Canada. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has campaigned on a promise to defund the CBC while maintaining its French-language programming. Friday, he focused on what he calls the Liberals' excessive spending.
I find it interesting that Mr. Carney is now proposing hundreds of millions of billions of dollars in additional spending. Let's be clear on this. Mr. Carney has not proposed a single penny in cost reductions in this government.
CBC received an estimated $1.38 billion in 2024 and 2025. Carney's initial pledge of $150 million more would come with future increases and statutory funding, meaning any changes would have to be approved by Parliament, not just the cabinet of the day. It would also mean enlarging CBC and Radio-Canada's mandate to include more local programming, especially during emergencies. Researchers say that aligns with what recent polling suggests, that most Canadians support the public broadcaster, but want to see changes.
It's really about, is there a bureau near me? But I think for most Canadian communities, to have their stories told and to have their news told is vital.
I think it should definitely be funded.
I would say more transparency with where they're putting the money.
As for the CBC, a spokesperson said the broadcaster will not be commenting on the party's positions during the election campaign. Ioana Rumaliotis, CBC News, Toronto.
As the campaign heads toward week 3, the NDP is shifting its tone, and Conservatives are pledging tougher penalties for intimate partner violence.
Today in Trois-Rivières, Pierre Poilievre focused on the issue of intimate partner violence. He said he'd create a new criminal offence of assaulting an intimate partner, and that anyone charged with that would be denied bail and would have to remain in jail until their case is decided in court. He also said he'd remove a criminal code provision that allows a person accused of murder to claim that it was a crime of passion. That term doesn't exist in the criminal code, but a defendant is able to claim provocation as a mitigating factor to reduce a murder conviction to manslaughter. The Conservative campaign is now off to British Columbia.
I'm David Thurton, traveling with the NDP in St. John's. New Democrats are beginning their East Coast push, targeting ridings in Newfoundland and Labrador, its capital, before heading to Halifax. The NDP holds no seats in Atlantic Canada. Earlier, Jagmeet Singh was trying to broaden the NDP's foothold in Montreal beyond its single seat. He met with local candidates and spoke about his party's plans to crack down on tax havens. The NDP ends its second week having tweaked its messaging as well. Singh is no longer asserting he's running to be Prime Minister. Instead, he's asking Canadians to elect enough New Democrat MPs to hold whoever wins power to account. It's a subtle acknowledgement that New Democrats understand where they're at in the polls.
The Conservatives and the Liberals each dropped a candidate today. In Edmonton, Rod Loyola was removed from the Liberals after the National Post reported on a video from a 2009 protest where he appeared to praise Hezbollah and Hamas. And the Conservatives dropped Quebec candidate Simon Payette after he accused Liberal candidate and Polytechnique survivor Nathalie Provost of exploiting the tragedy. A new warning tonight for Canadians traveling to the U.S. Prepare to be questioned. And if you're denied entry, you could be detained. That's what happened to a Canadian woman who was detained for more than a week in what she describes as a terrifying ordeal. She told her story to Yvette Brend.
It was supposed to be a routine stop at this U.S.-Mexico border crossing.
And then this man just comes out and he goes, "Jasmine, can you come with me?"
That began an 11-day ordeal in U.S. detention for Canadian Jasmine Mooney, first in a cement cell dubbed an icebox.
There was girls laying on the ground with this aluminum blanket over their body, like a dead body.
The saga started a year ago. The former actress says she'd been working in California. Last spring, when she returned to Canada for a visit, U.S. border officials denied her a work visa at a BC border crossing over some missing letterhead. A lawyer advised she go through Mexico to reapply for that visa. She did, and it was approved. But after a trip to Vancouver last November, her visa was revoked for a second time when trying to return to California. So she again flew to Mexico.
I advised her not to do it because it was right after the new administration, and I started seeing these cases pop up.
The worst that I thought that could happen is I would get denied.
She was eventually deported, but her story now just one of several of U.S. border agents detaining people over visas.
What's unusual about these cases, in my mind, there's really no immigration violations.
Ottawa issued new guidance Friday that U.S.-bound travelers should expect greater scrutiny at the border, including searches of electronic devices and warning travelers could be detained. Mooney is banned from the U.S. for 5 years but hopes to appeal and return.
I'm 100% appealing. I'm not going to let this experience jade my views on America because I love America.
She will never forget the kindness of the women detained with her.
They're put through this. There has to be a better system.
She wants to help them like they tried to help her. Yvette Brand, CBC News, Vancouver.
More than 100,000 people in Ontario are still without power tonight, a week after an ice storm swept through the region. As Ithel Musa shows us, Ontario's premier paid a visit to some hard-hit areas and found some frustration.
Elaine Buzovetsky says this small generator has been her lifeline. A powerful ice storm that battered parts of central and eastern Ontario last weekend.
Oh my God!
Has left her without power for 7 days. And her neighborhood looking like this.
The community has come together. We're all doing check-ins everywhere, absolutely taking care of each other, but we're not being taken care of by our government. That's what I felt.
Freezing rain and high winds snapped trees in half and brought down power lines. Days later, tens of thousands of Hydro One customers like Buzovetsky remain in the dark.
Everyone's trying their best, and there's been a ton of damage, so you just gotta be patient.
We're okay. It's not minus 20, so that's good.
So we had a storm that lasted nearly 3 days. Started late Friday night and went into Monday, and it affected the same areas over and over.
Hydro One is calling it the most severe weather event it has faced since the ice storm of 1998.
My opinion, this is 10 times worse. Good to see you.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford visited the region Friday to thank first responders and to comfort residents.
I can assure you we're working around the clock to get people's power up.
Ford says volunteers have been going door to door, doing wellness checks and handing out meals.
It took me hours.
But Buzovetsky says she hasn't received any help, and the Premier's visit is too little, too late.
Why Friday, 7 days later? We've been left to the dogs, I feel. Like, where were you Sunday and Monday?
Hydro One says the majority of customers should have electricity restored by the end of the weekend. But those in remote areas may have to wait a little longer. Ithel Musa, CBC News, Brecken, Ontario.
A last-minute attempt to stop a new U.S. border rule affecting Canadian snowbirds.
What they're rolling out is a system that is arbitrary, it's confusing.
The legal efforts to quash the rule that would require many snowbirds to register with U.S. authorities. Plus, the reaction from actor Russell Brand after he was charged with rape in the UK.
I've never engaged in non-consensual activity. I pray that you can see that by looking in my eyes.
And the view from Windsor, where auto workers are feeling the brunt of Donald Trump's trade war.
All of a sudden, kind of like the rug's being pulled out from underneath us.
We're back in 2. TikTok will keep running in the U.S. for another 75 days. Donald Trump extended tomorrow's deadline for the Chinese-owned parent company ByteDance to sell its U.S. assets to a non-Chinese buyer or face a nationwide ban. The U.S. president has said he's willing to reduce China's tariffs to get a deal done. 170 million Americans use the platform. In a matter of days, certain Canadians traveling to the U.S. will need to register with the U.S. government or risk imprisonment. And Sophia Harris shows us that for snowbirds, the rule is murky, confusing, and maybe the last straw.
It's windy out here.
Snowbirds Diane and David Fine are heading back to Canada earlier than planned, before the U.S. registration requirement for travelers kicks in on April 11th. The rule requires certain foreigners staying in the U.S. for 30 days or longer, including many Canadians crossing by land, to fill out a lengthy registration form online. Those who don't comply could be fined, even imprisoned. Many snowbirds aren't impressed.
I'm telling you, people right now are saying they're not coming back. And that shows you how upset we are.
But now, an effort to get a last-minute reprieve. Several U.S. immigration advocacy groups are suing the Trump administration, asking the court to declare the registration rule unlawful, claiming the government failed to seek public comment.
Because they did not do that, what they're rolling out is a system that is arbitrary, it's confusing, it doesn't make sense.
This is
The Fines did fill out the registration form, but so far have only received a confirmation email. Travelers are required to carry proof of their registration at all times. The Fines worry they don't have that yet.
So is that your official receipt? We do not know.
We have no idea. We're very confused,
They aren't the only ones. This travel expert runs a resource website for snowbirds. He's been flooded with emails asking questions about the coming requirement.
The regulations came out in a hurry, or there still isn't a lot of clarity on how you complete the process, who's required to complete the process.
On Tuesday, the lawsuit's plaintiffs plan to ask the court to block the registration rule before its April 11th rollout. The Department of Homeland Security didn't comment on the lawsuit or the confusion, but did say the rule aligns with Trump's efforts to enhance the country's safety and security. Sophia Harris, CBC News, Vancouver.
British actor and media personality Russell Brand is publicly responding after UK police charged him with rape and sexual assault relating to 4 separate women.
What I never was a rapist. I've never engaged in non-consensual activity.
The charges are related to incidents from 1999 to 2005. Brand says he will defend these charges in court. He's been told to appear in London on May 2nd. The chase is on tonight to beat Wayne Gretzky's record for the most NHL career goals.
Alex is still there. Score!
A record once considered unbreakable. How Washington Capitals star Alexander Ovechkin got to this point. Plus, we dig into the math behind the Trump team's tariffs and why it doesn't add up.
The way they calculated this just simply doesn't make any sense.
The National breaks down the stories shaping our world next. Breaking tonight, Washington Capitals veteran captain Alex Ovechkin has tied Wayne Gretzky's NHL scoring record. As Jamie Strachan shows us, after holding the title for decades, the Great One will be on hand to see Ovechkin take the lead.
Here's a pass, Ovechkin. Score!
894 down, 1 to go. For 20 seasons, Washington Capitals forward Alexander Ovechkin has been a nightmare for NHL goalies. It has brought him close to an NHL record thought untouchable.
I think it's what's happening right now. It's great for hockey.
Right to the net, out in front.
Dubbed the Great Chase, Ovechkin is now
Ovechkin one time.
1 goal away from 895, breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time goals record.
Well, Wayne, you've got some company now.
This is what the game's all about. Alex has been great for the game and great for Washington, great for his own country. It's wonderful.
Saved by Flaherty. The rebound. Score! Wayne Gretzky.
Gretzky will be at every Capitals game until his 30-year-old record is eclipsed.
I'm happy for him because he's the greatest goal scorer in NHL history. But at the same time, I guess I didn't want to see any of Wayne's records falling.
Hockey historian Liam McGuire says the game has never seen a player like Ovechkin.
He's a bull, right? He's 6'2", 220 pounds. He's indestructible. He breaks a bone in his leg earlier this year and comes back faster than anybody in the history of the game. At some point, no matter what side of the fence you're on, you tip your hat to the extended continuance of greatness.
As Alexander Ovechkin stands on the doorstep of NHL history, here at the Hockey Hall of Fame gift shop, you don't see any of his jerseys in the window, possibly a nod to his troubled legacy.
In Russia, sports and politics are very, very intimately tied.
Ovechkin has been a vocal and visible supporter of Russian President Vladimir Putin.
They receive awards and all other types of government largesse for bringing glory to the motherland. But Ovechkin, of course, has gone way beyond that passive support.
In hockey circles, few talk about Ovechkin's politics.
Ovechkin's camped out.
Instead, the focus has almost always been on his on-ice dominance. That will see him go down as the greatest goal scorer the game has ever seen. Jamie Strachan, CBC News, Toronto.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. Tonight, the cost of U.S. tariff calculations for countries, consumers, and workers. Trump's trade war hits North America's auto sector. Plants shut down, workers laid off. Anger and fear on Canadian assembly lines.
The hardest part of this is just the unknown. It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying.
But first, breaking down the math behind Trump's reciprocal tariff rates.
The way they calculated this just simply doesn't make any sense.
The formula confounding the world, tanking markets, and reimagining global trade.
The core problem is you're not buying enough stuff from the United States, and we're buying too much stuff, in Trump's mind, from you.
Andrew Chang, host of About That, goes to the blackboard to take on the U.S. tariff equation and shows why the numbers may not add up.
An author and journalist was among at least a few people who stumbled upon a very strange discovery yesterday about how the Trump administration went about calculating which countries should be hit with what reciprocal tariffs.
It's so simple that it seemed improbable that they would have done it this way. I think initially my reaction was just like, no way. And then it was like, oh yes, way, of course.
I'll show you the math trade experts say is so crude and misleading. The ones we spoke to all had the same reaction.
The way they calculated this just simply doesn't make any sense.
I'm surprised that they actually had a formula. It seemed like the tariffs were sort of random and plucked from air, and it wasn't clear what criteria one was going to use.
Now, yesterday was a big day for Trump, Liberation Day, the announcement of universal and reciprocal tariffs against almost every single country on Earth. And the key prop of the afternoon was this chart.
It's very windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing.
That giant board was page one of a list of new reciprocal tariffs against more than 180 countries, which is almost all of them. And you can't make it out so far away, but if I show you the original image that board was made from, you can see the second column corresponding to each country is labeled in fine print, tariffs charged to the USA. And then in even finer print, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. And every country shows a different number. So to translate, this is what the Trump administration says. It calculated for every single country what tariff they effectively put on US goods, if you factor in not just their tariffs, but also all kinds of unfair things those countries do to put America at a disadvantage.
For nations that treat us badly, we will calculate the combined rate of all their tariffs, non-monetary barriers, and other forms of cheating.
Except the actual math of their calculation is so rudimentary and does not directly relate at all, as advertised, to actual tariffs or currency or trade barriers. What they appear to have done was to take the US trade deficit in physical goods with each country, divided by total US imports of goods from that country, turn that into a percentage, and that's it. That's what they misleadingly call tariffs charged to the USA. And if I actually do the math for you, you'll see why this doesn't make any sense. Take China. We can find from government figures what the US trade deficit with them was last year, and that's $295.4 billion. If you divide that number by total US imports from China that same year, that's $438.9 billion. One number divided by the other, and what you get is 67.3%. And sure enough, this is the tariff the Trump White House accuses China of charging. Problem is, this number is clearly not derived at all from any tariff China charges.
The fact that we know now that it was a simple division of two numbers is perhaps a bit embarrassing to the administration.
Now, I've manually checked all 185 countries on this list. It took me about 3 hours, and every single tariff appeared to have been calculated this same way. The White House would eventually publish this explanation, where they show a more complicated looking formula, except we can break this down too. And this might be a bit much, but for transparency, let's dive right in. The effective tariff rate, that's this series of symbols and letters on the left, that's what they're trying to figure out for each country, right? And to get there, they take into account how sensitive customers are to higher prices and how likely prices are to increase, which they set at 4 and 0.25, respectively. But multiply them, and they effectively cancel each other out to equal simply 1. And we know that multiplying anything by 1 does nothing. So clean that up, and you're left with something a lot more straightforward, where X is defined as total goods exports, M is total goods imports. Subtract one from the other, that's what a trade imbalance in goods is. And if it's a deficit, that divided by total imports is basically what we said from the start.
It doesn't even attempt to measure what those tariffs are. They're not measuring other countries' tariffs. It's not measuring other countries' non-tariff measures. It's not even measuring currency manipulation. It's just taking the trade deficit as an ipso facto reflection of those things.
Now, the thing is, if you really think about it, you can kind of understand why the US government would see their math as some kind of approximation for how unfair each country is being. Because mathematically, what you're doing when you take a trade deficit divided by total imports is you're measuring what percentage of what that country sells to you goes unmatched by what you sell to them. That's what a trade deficit is. How much more they sell to you than you sell to them. But it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Just to use an analogy, like we as households, we as consumers, we have trade surpluses and trade deficits with different entities in the economy. Most of us run a massive trade deficit with our grocery store. Most of us have a massive trade surplus with our employer. They pay us, but we don't buy anything from them. Are these things that are problems we need to remedy? So in some sense, the underlying premise that bilateral trade imbalances are necessarily bad is just wrong.
But Trump thinks they're bad. He would prefer to be the seller making money as opposed to the buyer spending it, which he's allowed to think. But again, this claim of his that all these numbers on this list are effectively the tariff rates that countries charge the US when they're just not at all, and then to use those simplistic calculations to in turn inform the actual reciprocal tariff that, as a matter of official trade policy, the US is going to then impose on actual products from real businesses all over the world.
You're going to have a lot of people out there believing something that's not true, namely that Vietnam has a tariff rate of 90% on US exports and Cambodia has a tariff rate of 97%. So that's just bad, right? It just gives people a false view of the world.
You know, Trump wields tariffs as a serious weapon of global trade.
The word tariff to me is the most beautiful word in the entire dictionary, okay?
We've seen how even the simple threat of tariffs can erase trillions of dollars in stock market value and force companies on every side of the border into a decision-making tailspin because they don't know how to plan their supply chains in the face of such wacky numbers.
We may have short-term some little pain, and people understand that.
And Trump would say this works towards a noble and important goal, which is to restore the economic engine of American manufacturing. Except this most recent attempt to level the playing field, it isn't supported by sophisticated models or rigorous analysis. It's a shortcut, an oversimplified reduction arbitrarily divided by 2.
And because we are being very kind, we're kind people, we will charge them approximately half of what they are and have been charging us.
The idea behind them was that Trump could use the tariffs we're imposing and say, oh, you're imposing a 90% tariff, but we're going to impose a 45% tariff, so let's negotiate your tariffs down. But when the 90% number is fake, then what do you do? Like, how do you negotiate it down? If you're Cambodia or Vietnam, how do you know how far to bring it down, and what are you even bringing down? Because the core problem isn't the trade barriers you have in place. The core problem is you're not buying enough stuff from the United States, and we're buying too much stuff, in Trump's mind, from you.
I'll show you one last thing. This list, one other thing I found curious was how so many countries have exactly 10% written here as the effective tariff rate that they charge the US. Isn't that weird? Like, all these countries charge the US the exact same 10% rate? Well, again, I checked every single one, and all of them, all 115 of them, actually buy more from the US than they sell, which gives the US a trade surplus. As in, by Trump's definition, these are the countries the US currently rips off. But Trump's answer to that is to punish them anyway, to charge their goods a 10% tariff. I don't know what logic explains that.
The tariff math may be confusing, but their impact on the Canadian election is clear. In covering the campaign, the National is visiting communities across the country. In a few days, we'll be in Medicine Hat, Alberta, whose economic diversity is built for this time of uncertainty. Here's a preview from Aaron Collins.
Well, it was the railway that first drew people to Medicine Hat. Then the discovery of natural gas fueled a manufacturing boom here. All the while, agriculture helped sustain growth. An economy used to volatility and change.
When you consider things like floods and droughts and some of the challenges that we've been up against over the decades, and we've always persevered.
Well, that adversity leading to economic diversity. Case in point, carbon black.
Anything that's black and made of rubber and on your car has carbon black in it.
This facility, one of just 2 on the planet using natural gas to make carbon black, capitalizing on that abundant and inexpensive source of carbon. These days, shipping around the world. This load on the way to Brazil.
Coming up, we take you to Windsor, Ontario, where auto workers are grappling firsthand with the fallout from Donald Trump's trade war.
If things were to go the way Trump wants them to, I don't know if I'd be able to even hold on to my home.
More from that conversation after the break. For worried workers in Windsor, Ontario, heartland of Canada's auto sector, Trump's tariff threats are no longer just an impending shadow. They're a real and tangible risk.
Without my current job, I don't know if I'd be able to even hold on to my home.
The source of their anxiety is clear: the potential of tariffs to hurt their livelihoods. Nick Purdon talked to people in Windsor, where the auto industry doesn't just provide wages, it's shaped a way of life.
Growing up, everybody knew somebody that worked at one of the big 3, like Windsor is an auto town. Never thought that I'd actually be working there. In the city, it's like winning the lottery, but yet here we are, 10 years later, where all of a sudden, kind of like the rug's being pulled out from underneath us.
Meet Derek Gungle. He's worked at the Stellantis auto plant for more than 10 years. But with Trump's tariffs, today is his last shift for at least 2 weeks. I sat down with Derek at the local union hall to ask him how he's doing.
It's constant uncertainty. It's constantly worrying. It's, game planning for week to week now. You're not actually saving for the future. You're just saving for whatever might come the next week. I've been through enough layoffs in my life, not just in auto, but before that, where when you leave work, you don't know if you're coming back.
What would you say is the hardest part of this?
I'd say probably the hardest part of this is just the unknown, because we don't know what's going to happen next week. We don't know if we're ever going to end up with a stable economy again, not just in auto, but I mean, this community itself, it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying.
I mean, are you rethinking your life?
Oh, I don't think I could at this point.
What do you mean?
Too tied to this now. I'm 46 years old. I've got a lot of injuries from working in auto, and I'm at a point where I don't know if I could jump into something brand new. Like starting over would be nearly impossible. Nearly impossible.
Derek tells me that because of what's happening, this election is make or break.
What would you say are the stakes in this election?
My livelihood. Like at the end of the day, my life is so tied to this career now. I don't know what we would do afterwards. I'd just be very curious to see which political parties have the best platform to actually put something out to help our industry.
You grew up here in Windsor on the border.
Yep.
How has the border changed?
Right now, I wouldn't go over to the United States. There's a whole negative connotation over there. Like I don't want to. It's not that I don't feel safe. It's just I don't feel welcome. Like I mean, we're at a point where they're trying to take our jobs, take our economy, take our livelihood in Canada. And why would I go over there and support any of that? Why would I go to a ball game? Why would I go to a concert over there? Like, it makes absolutely no sense to me.
Let's just hope it's not a long road ahead.
Caitlin Drake and Austin Welsel came straight here from their shift at the plant.
It was a lot of doom and gloom and a lot of just uneasy feeling, right? Like when you don't know what's happening, there's a lot of people who are very uncertain.
Caitlin is a third-generation auto worker. When she started at the plant 10 years ago, she never thought she'd care so much about her job.
The job means more to me than I think I could actually put into words, more or less because it's a generational thing. I went into Chrysler thinking it was a stepping stone to pay off my education because that's what my dad wanted it to be at first. And then it's become a way of life. I met my boyfriend there. It's because of Chrysler that I've been able to purchase a home, pay off my student loans, be able to travel a little bit. Not a lot, but it keeps me happy.
What does the news of the tariffs mean for you personally?
Without my current job, if things were to go the way Trump wants them to, I don't know if I'd be able to even hold on to my home. The auto industry has always been a roller coaster, but this is different. It feels like an attack on us. It feels like an attack on not just the auto sector, but our country as a whole.
This is all happening in the context of a federal election. What are your thoughts about that?
I want to have a stable government that can fight this. And I want someone who is going to look out for not just our, white collar people. There's our blue collar middle class and lower class, our low income seniors that all need to be taken care of. And we need a government that's going to do that.
Up next, a Montreal pizza chef becomes world champion.
You have to follow some strict rules about the dough, the fermentation, the weight of the dough.
How his creation won over judges in our moment. You're looking at a world's best slice. This photo was taken at the International Pizza Challenge in Las Vegas, where a Montreal-based chef won big. His marinara pizza won in the Neapolitan category. And tonight, the pie that took home the top prize makes our moment.
I had the best day of my life last week in Vegas. I always competed in the Neapolitan. There's a lot of pressure. I love pressure, so it's good. For somebody it could be too much, but it's really good. I like it. And you have to follow some strict rules about the dough, the fermentation, the weight of the dough, how much tomato sauce you use, how many seconds you cook. It's the really simple pizza to eat, but the hardest to cook, because it needs the right spot at the right time with the right dough. Can I go? Yep. I was really happy because finally Montreal started to have some other people that understand how important could be participate in those kind of competition and help us out to put Montreal on the map. Now I think that everybody knows that we can do some of the best pizza in the world in Montreal.
And apparently, to take home the prize, he was up against 125 other challengers, 100 of them from Naples, which is the birthplace of pizza. And still, he won, bringing ingredients with him from Montreal, which hailed from Italy. The oregano, the olive oil. Who wants a slice? Thanks for being with us tonight. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the National's YouTube channel. I'm Erica Johnson. Take care.